On the phone, pleasure to welcome to the program Academy Award nominated actor Mark Ruffalo. Thanks for joining us, Mark.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
So, and I should also say, I guess, Countdown contributor as well.
That's right. That's one of my many titles now.
Well, now, and let's talk about this. I know you've been getting more and more involved in Occupy Wall Street. I know I was following your fracking stuff. We both are residents of Hudson Valley. I think you're in Delaware County or Greene County, one of those up there. But let's first talk about Occupy Wall Street. You've been checking it. You've been more or less checking this out since the beginning, haven't you?
I probably went down there the first time about, I'd say 3 weeks ago. By the way, happy birthday, Occupy Wall Street. It's the celebration of their first month.
Oh, that's right. It's the 17th today.
Yeah, that's right. I started to clock it on social media a little bit and decided that I wanted to go down and see what it was about. From what I read, their messaging seemed to be something that I thought could resonate, and it wasn't being run by any one group or political movement or anything. It really did seem like the cousin to what we see happening in the Middle East with the Arab Spring, and that was exciting to me. And so I decided I'd go down there and see it for myself.
Just give me a sense of your first reactions, and if your sense of what's happening down there has changed over the past 30 days.
Yeah, what I have been part of protests in the past, mostly for the protests in the Iraq War, but also stuff with hydrofracking. And the first thing that I noticed was there was although there was a lot of indignation there was a real lack of rage, and there was a real sweet, kind of gentle discourse going on between the people, and that was very different than a lot of the protests that I've been to in the past. And there was a lot of exchanging of ideas and a lot of openness in the people that were involved, and people from disparate political beliefs, walks of life, cultures, and class, and I found that to be really remarkable. There was just a very open and kind spirit to what I experienced there, and one thing that was common in all of those people was this commitment, which I found very moving. People make fun of them, especially the younger people, but to sit out there day in and day out in the rain, without tents, not being allowed to have any kind of amenities that even a backpacker would enjoy. That's an enormous commitment. And I think it's really I think it's sad that America tends to attach themselves to these superficial things, like these hippies, or look at them, they're dirty, they're sleeping outside. I mean, I noticed an incredible commitment to their beliefs, and it's just something that you don't see very often, and so I was very moved by it.
You and I mean, let's talk about this a little bit, because you and I think, are more or less the same age, and there was, we grew up in that time where, or I guess maybe we came into our sort of political consciousness around a time where Reagan was ascendant, and there was a real sort of like P.J. O'Rourke, if that makes any sense, mentality of a real, I mean, that's really when the hippie punching started, was during that era, that notion of like, the sort of in the wake of Alex P. Keaton. And on some levels, I mean, this is the first time I've seen anything like this, where there has been, where it has been able to sort of pierce through that sort of detached irony, apathy, sort of almost hipper than thou attitude that I think, sort of the slacker generation had in some respects. I mean, do you get that same sense?
Yeah, the other thing that I think is what we've fallen into is also this other, the other. It's something that's used a lot in our political discourse, and it's used to demonize particular groups and points of view, to take away their humanity. And when you could take away their humanity by calling them names or casting aspersions about them or debasing them, then you actually can take away their messaging, and it's something that I think we've seen a lot of in the past since that time. It's something that I think certain cynical parties in politics have used to divide us as a people in this nation, and basically get one over on us because we're so engaged in this backbiting and dehumanizing of each other that our common needs and our common interests have been lost.
And I want to talk a little bit about your becoming politically active in the context of being an actor and a guy with a considerable amount of acclaim. I mean, actors have just as much, reason to be involved in anything as anybody else, for that matter. But it does make a difference. I mean, early on, I think it was September 20th or 21st, the NPR ombudsman was responding to why, maybe it was even later than that, why they weren't covering it. And one of the things they said, point blank, was that there was no one there who was of any import. And which is obviously a good indication of where
Disgusting.
It's disgusting. And but what it does also is it raises the question of the importance of someone like yourself getting involved. I mean, it wasn't until Michael Moore and Susan Sarandon and yourself started going down there that it gave license, sadly, but that's the fact, to the mainstream media, the corporate media, to get involved. And I want to just ask you about,
and Russell Simmons, by the way.
Exactly. And Cornel West was down there around that time.
Yes.
The importance that you personally feel about getting involved. I mean, because obviously you've gotten involved in fracking. You were more aware of the issue probably because it was happening in your area. But it's like you say, you were involved in the Iraq War protests. But tell me about the sort of the implications and the responsibility you feel that drives you to get involved in these things.
Well, it's the sad truth is that as an actor, you in America today, your voice happens to travel a little bit further than some other people's, than most people's, and I was brought up, my teacher came out of the group theater, and the group theater was in part responsible for the strike movement in the 30s, which turned into, a lot of what we see today as far as our social well-being, and so I was taught that as an actor, as an artist, you had a responsibility. And you had a responsibility to the common good, and when you're making your bones as a young actor, you barely have enough water to boil kasha. I didn't have the time, and I didn't have the wherewithal to be as involved as I wanted to be. I was struggling just like everybody else. But now I've gotten to a place where my career is underway, and I have some extra time on my hands and extra resources, and I feel compelled to give back to the very people who have made my life wonderful and great, and who don't have a voice. And so with hydrofracking, I went and visited these people and seen how debased their lives have become. I mean, they can't use the water that comes out of their tap. I mean, I don't know many modern countries where something like that is happening, and they didn't have a voice, and the entire political system had turned their back on them. And I see the same thing with the Occupy Wall Street movement. Now, I was very reticent to jump into it because I think the great power of this movement is that it is a people's movement. No one's been able to co-opt it, and I certainly didn't want to have to appear to be doing that or have any interest in that. But as I was there and I saw that the media wasn't covering it, I started to step into it to push it out there as much as I could without stepping on its intent and what it's about.
Well, I mean, I got to tell you, I mean, I have a great admiration for you doing that. I mean, I obviously I spent a couple of years working with Janine on Air America, Janine Ruffalo, and she was one of the few people who are allowed to go on television and argue that we should not be invading Iraq. And just the other day we were down at Occupy Wall Street with Naomi Klein, and she was put out a plea for people with some measure of celebrity use that celebrity. And when I see actors and artists who have that type of acclaim and they are using it that way and expending it that way, I find it very impressive. And but tell me, I mean, now, there is a sense out there that it can cost you in terms of your career. There's another sense that it could actually, in some respects, has absolutely no implications whatsoever. I mean, how are the people that you're dealing with in the context of the industry, are they reacting at all? Are you getting any pushback? I mean, are you at that place in your career where, your agent's just like, just as long as you keep doing films, I don't care what else you do?
I've had actually no pushback from my industry. I've actually have had a lot of, I feel like, support. I don't know. There is that inkling of fear,
right?
But then I weigh that against, the kind of human being that I say that I am, and if I am who I say that I am, then I have to step out and stand behind my convictions, and honestly, my business is a popular business. It's a business that's mostly for people, and it's dictated by people, and if people like you, then they go to see your movies, and if they go to see your movies, then producers say, oh well, he's good, he draws an audience, let's give him another job, and so in a strange way, I feel. Buddy, when I was a young actor, I was so poor, and I had nothing, man. I could barely, there was weeks where I had a loaf of bread and some peanut butter and jelly and a bag of apples, and that was it. But I was pretty happy, and I lived in the poorest part of Los Angeles. I lived with the immigrants there. They had nothing as well. And we had a pretty true, beautiful life, and the theater is very cheap to do, and I can always go back to that. I'd rather feel like at the end of the day, I used whatever I had been given, my gifts and my good fortune to give back a little bit to the very people who put me there. And if that's going to cost me, then you know what, man. Money isn't everything, and careers aren't everything. I got a great family. I have a beautiful life. I have a beautiful wife. I have great friends who I know wouldn't turn their backs on me. And you got to let the chips fall as they may.
Well, Mark, I really appreciate the work you're doing, and I think it's frankly inspirational to everybody. I mean, this is what it's going to take to grow the movement, is where people decide they want to be the people that they think they are.
I agree. And you know what? It's growing. I mean, part of the beauty of the movement is it's actually done pretty damn well with a B-list celebrity like myself, and some other help. It really is owned by the people, and I'm very moved and interested to see where this is all going to end up. It's taken the world by storm, and I'm glad to have been a part of it from the beginning.
Mark Ruffalo, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Really appreciate your time today.